And so talk to me about Resi. What problem do you solve?
I reckon it's Resi was set up because of a problem. It was our founders, Jules and Alex. These are two powerhouses in the industry. They they were going to extend their home, and they're like, "Who do I trust? How much should it cost?" And they didn't have a clue, and they have all these different conflicting pieces of information. And they met these two architects or designers, and they're like, "This every industry has had this sort of tech approach or this standardization or this sort of this marketplace being set up, except for architecture."
Mm.
So they're like, let's try something. So that was about 7, 8 years ago, and they have built this business where we've done about 8,000 projects, and within them projects, if you're our customer, we will bring to you a vetted builder, well, three of them, vetted engineers and particle surveyors and drainage surveyors. The team in London, in Oval, are just fantastic. The team of architects and designers, they will make sure your planning gets approved 98% of the time because we have a planning department full of ex-case officers.
Mm.
And it's trying to make, we've always toyed about like what is the purpose of Resi, but it's like to make the whole development and extension journey or renovation journey more pleasant, more enjoyable, more stress free, and you will know who to trust by like following our recommendations.
So it seems like a version of kind of check a trade or
We'd like to say not check a trade.
yeah.
We say like our builders they're vetted. They're constantly vetted. Like they have their own platform for recommendations. Like they're vetted for the financials, for the recommendations from customers, for their quality. So it's like check a trade in terms of it is a marketplace, but we hold a high bar for quality. Hold a high bar for sort of like to make a recommendation in this industry it's hard, as you know. But we've also set this business up where builders have built companies around Resi. Because if we're getting 150 new projects a month and we're delivering them at a high quality, and they want builders know that a Resi project is coming around the corner. Once I finish one, there's another one coming. I've been an architect for I think like 8, 9 years, and I remember back in the day whenever you're on site, there's an issue, and everybody down tools. It's finger pointing. It's not my fault. It's your fault. But now it's more collaborative. It's like, what is the issue? What is the solution? It's our builders want to make sure our customers are happy, which is just a win-win for everybody.
Mm.
So I think it's sort of changed that whole sort of dynamic on site, which like we're obsessed with the customer, like what they want, what their needs are. So it's beneficial to the customer.
So how have you engineered that then? Because in lots of areas of the construction industry, you've got opposing sides, and you have the side which is the customer, and they're trying to drive price down, and they call it value engineering.
Yeah.
And you have the builder or the construction or the company or the contractor that are trying to meet that brief for that really, really low price, and they are then trying to make it even better on a price plane so that they can make money because
definitely.
the margins are super tight, right? One of the reasons why I think large contractors go out of business is because of how slim their margins are. But within that, there is that space which you've referred to as the finger pointing when something does go wrong, because it more often than not goes wrong, right? So how have you managed to practically alleviate that finger pointing?
Well, I'd say two things. First of all, we have never been a race to the bottom. So we are not the cheapest. I'd say we're like mid-place in the market. And again, each of our customers will get 3 to 4 quotes. And more often than not, we say, don't go for the cheapest. The cheapest is like they need work or they've missed something. And we would do a free tender review call of all customers where we sort of set out the tenders across like 8 or 9 standardized line items. So by not focusing on like the cheapest, you sort of set it up for success more so in the future. And secondly, I would say that sometimes like the no finger pointing and like the disputes on site, there's 2 different types of disputes. There's like quite a relaxed one, which is about sort of costs and finishes, which we can work with them on and make sure it doesn't become a bigger thing. Or if it is a more serious dispute, that's a different question. Like the serious ones we park because that happens and that needs to be contractual and actually understand like who is responsible. But for the ones which are, if it is like value engineering, we try and do that before it gets to site. So our building regulations drawings will have everything on it. We talk to our customers about like a shopping list. If you want underfloor heating, put it on the drawings. If you want critical doors, put it on the drawings. The builders will price what's there. They price everything in front of them. So we hope more often than not the customer will have a full, probably more expensive than they can afford, and they do the value engineering before they get to site, and as a result, more often than not having them issues when you're on site. I say this here like it's perfect. Obviously, a lot of projects, it does, you can never remove disputes from sites.
Yeah, things go wrong.
And especially we talk to our customers about, like, until you open up, until you dig into the ground, you don't know what's in there. You don't know what sort of pipes you're going to find. Like we do CCTV surveys, but it could be different. So there's many caveats we prepare customers for, but we try. I think we've learned a lot over 8,000 projects to sort of give the customers the right information and ask the right questions before they even get to site.
So primarily, then the company focuses on extensions as opposed to new build properties.
So we, over the last 7 years, like we've tried to find what are sort of our niches, and right now our niche is extensions. Like we're doing a lot of extensions, and we're bloody good at extensions. In the past, I actually headed up a new build department, and we found that like more difficult because to do 150 extensions is, I'm not going to say easier. It's more manageable than 150 new builds.
What makes it different? So break that down. What is the difference between the two from an architect's perspective?
So the planning requirements for an extension and the planning requirements for a new build are very different. The building regulations requirements for a new build and the building regulations requirements for an extension, very different. The timeframes as well, like to get a new build through planning, it takes many more months than like a PD loft or PD rear extension.
PD?
Permitted development. So instead of us, like we were very good at knowing what we're good at. So we were like, new builds right now, not for us. But we also had this outward look into the industry, and we don't want to be like going up against architects. We want to be working with other companies. So we decided about 2 years ago to work with other practices. So if Resi, my team of architects and designers, there's 40 of them in Brixton, if they can't do it, we find someone who can. So we work with a company called Design Squared, and they do our new builds. They do flats, they do huge houses, they do basements, they do outhouses, and it means that we know, like, if you come to me and like, Mark, I want an extension, no problem. My team, like Reem and Benny sitting beside me, they're going to do it very well. If you come to me and like, Mark, I want to build 6 flats in Lewisham, I'm like, right, we have a partner. They're very good at this. Look at their website. They work with Resi. There's a relationship there with them. They will do it very well. And like sort of diversifying our sort of delivery has helped us deliver them very successfully, while sort of making our niche even better.
You made reference to not going for the cheapest, or you're not the cheapest.
Yeah.
Why is that? What's wrong with being cheap?
I would say that, again, I don't want to bang on about this. I'm an architect. I value the profession. I've been in companies where they don't get paid. They do work for free. They undercut other architects, and it becomes this sort of vicious cycle. And Resi are very good at getting paid. We're very chilled about it. Like if your project costs you £3,000, you pay in 4 installments. If you can't pay one of the installments, we pause it. We pause it for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and it means that we know that out of 140 projects, we always get paid. But it means that we can be a bit more confident with the prices. It means we can pay our staff a good wage. It means we can have a nice office. It means we can focus on training. We can bring in, we're currently educating all of our team in retrofitting. We're bringing SIP suppliers. So for me, being the cheapest means that you work weekends, you work till 9 p.m, you work, your workforce are not sort of enthused about what they're doing, we made the decision not to be that company, and I think it's working. The team, our attrition rates are pretty good. The team love working there. We've got a nice office. Customers, I think we're the #1 architectural company on Trustpilot. Our case studies we're doing are fantastic. So it's trying to think about architecture a bit more, like a bit more sort of business savvy, and I'm confident the sort of like the customers, the ultimate sort of arbiter of like what how successful we are, and they like it. So it seems to work.
If you go back a number of years, the role of architect was definitely more prevalent throughout the whole process of construction. Do you think that those days will ever come back?
It's a good question. I think what we are doing isn't moving us in that direction. Like we trust external expertise. We vet external expertise. Like if a customer wants like a contract administrator, like we use one of them. If we want a project manager, we bring in external suppliers, structural engineers, drainage surveyors. We are leaning towards a sort of a diverse workforce of expertise as opposed to us being an ultimate company. What I would say is we aren't going that direction, but because like we are an architectural company who have formed a marketplace, which is kind of rare. Like it's not common to see that. So we aren't the doer, but we are the coordinator. So we aren't doing it as architects and designers, but as a company we are. So it's kind of like a catch-22.
Seems like your business model has got rhymes to an Uber or an Airbnb, where you're bringing two parties together and you're the linchpin in the middle.
So we've been called Uber of architecture quite a few times. There's a few articles, and I think about Resi in two ways. We've got the delivery unit, which is this highly profitable, high quality unit. There's about 40 to 50 people. It's architects, technologists, designers, planners. We introduce our customers to builders. We introduce customers to engineers. Like the teams there, like Jordan's planning team, and Antoine and Ollie with the design team, and Luis with the account managers. Like they're fantastic. This works, but we've only been able to do that by building software, and the software is our product department. The product department, the product and tech team. There's about 7 or 8 engineers. They are fantastic. We've built other systems. We've built tools where customers can like design their own extensions. We're currently building a tool where customers can see every extension that we've done in London, which is thousands. The planning history, the designs, the 3D visuals. We're using AI. So this is to have this product team within an architecture company. Again, rare, but it has enabled us to do more, deliver more. Customers love it. Customers are super engaged. I think to like the Uber point or the Airbnb point, we are different because of that. We can be compared to these mammoth companies because of that. I'd say there's no scale to our ambition. Like we're doing about like say 2,500 projects a year. We want that to be doubled in the next year or two. We've got some really exciting investors who back us to the hilt. So yeah, it's I sort of, part of me sort of recoils whenever I hear the Uber of architecture, but I do see the reasons why it is that. It does make sense, and I think it's because we are trying to think about this a little bit differently.
The thing that I've noticed in the construction industry is that not much has changed in hundreds of years.
It has to be dragged through into the modern era, kicking and screaming. I was at university not that long ago, and we had big, massive boards. We had about a pencil case full of like 6 or 7 different pens. We use 3D software called Revit. I'm sure you're aware of it. To get an architect or designer to convert to 3D software is not that easy. To get to 2D was hard enough. I think but I also think we moved to 3D software. It is expensive. I think the costs are prohibitive to actual progress. We are doing a lot of work with SIPs and retrofitting. we have the ability to look at both sides. We've got the designers and the builders, Resi have 100 and something builders on our system. They are reluctant to build with SIPs. They're reluctant to use a heat pump. They're reluctant to put in solar panels because they have this sort of these historical sort of inbuilt sort of misconceptions of the benefits. Like we'd put a heat pump in a project and then the builder would take it out. They put in a boiler. We're like, guys, come on, like it makes sense. But our Olivia, who's our heads of that department, is currently aggressively trying to educate both sides, trying to educate the builders, putting SIPs in front of them. We think that's the only way to do it. Like you can educate as many architects as you want, but if the builders take it out, then you're wasting your time. So trying to do both sides is our way of trying to drag the industry forward, kicking and screaming.
It also seems as though from your approach, you're actually able to get more done in less time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so just looking at the pattern of history, you go back far enough and before the Industrial Revolution, I think it was, the stat is somewhere around 92% of people were involved in farming.
Yeah, there you go.
Where now, not so much because of machinery, because of automation.
Do you know what? We speak to a lot of architects and companies for various reasons. Our VP of Product and Design, Nick Eels, he spoke to an architect a few months ago, and they said they go to site to meet every customer before they pay. Before they become a customer, they go to site and they design the work. And out of them customers, about, let's say 20% become an actual customer. So they're basically having about 80% of their time, which is abortive. And just to have a cup of tea and to sit across the table and look into their eyes, when really we're like, become a customer, you don't need to go to site. We can, like, the world has progressed. We can have a video call and you can speak to someone and look them in the eye. And Resi's, you will never meet your architect with Resi. You're sitting at home, you're a busy person, you're doing the kids' homework, you log onto your dashboard, you have your video call with the team. That's how this works. It becomes much more accessible than trying to find a time in your diary where you can get across London, get from the east to west or up to Newcastle. We've removed that sort of locational sort of restriction, and it's really opened us up to many more customers.
Yeah, I love that concept. Even for me as a customer of yours, if I was a customer of yours, for me to put time in my diary to get you to come round and sit down and have a big conversation. And
we had a marketing campaign a while last year. We have a really cracking marketing guy. He's a bit loopy, but we love him. And it was something like, architects don't come for tea, or our architects don't come for a cup of tea. And it caused a bit of a stir, but we're like, it's right, we don't. And we will still get you planning. We'll still do a cracking design. We will still get you a great builder. That's what matters.
Interesting. Where do you see the future of this approach? Do you see this as you taking over the world, as in becoming an Uber or or do you see this principle being adopted amongst more architects?
We do have some competitors, and whenever we first started 8 years ago, we were the first online architect. Like, that didn't exist before. And there has been some competitors, but the competitors also now work with us. So Alex's grand ambition is, we want to become the ultimate marketplace. The marketplace where you come to Resi for your Pinterest board starts at Resi. You come to Resi for your initial ideas. We find you the right architect. We will always have that architectural unit in Resi, like 40 to 50 architects and technologists, and we want it to be like the petri dish of testing new ideas, testing SIPs and retrofit and new technologies. Like, that is our ambition, to never lose that. But we also don't want to have a company of 500 people in Oval, Brixton. For us, that's too big. We want to use the marketplace where we'll find you an architect, whether it be Resi or not Resi. We'll find you a kitchen, a bathroom, an engineer, a CCTV drainage surveyor. We'll find you a builder. We actually have relationships now with Velux and Ibstock. We are moving into the material supply as well. So we're bringing discounts to our builders. If you want to build in brick slips, come to us. We speak to Ibstock we did on a regular basis. Velux have given us a discount, their first discount ever to a commercial company to use. So we at the minute it's delivery, but we are our ambition is not there. Our ambition is to go further to control the material supply, and that's how we become this Uber of architecture, but not losing the core part of the business.
I love that. Moving forward, I see that the companies that will succeed and thrive are going to be the ones that are able to deliver based on speed and quality, instead of just be able to deliver on quality. It needs to be speed.
Do you know what? It's we debate a lot about the sort of speed, quality. Like, customers want speed, do they want cost, do they want quality? And most successful businesses are, you lean into one. We know you always must have quality. Once you lose quality, you've got a short-term vision.
Yeah, because your integrity's out the window.
Exactly,
you're actually a fraud, aren't you?
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you don't give quality.
Yeah, it's a short-term mindset. Yes, you have great numbers for the next month, but it'll fall to pieces. We know speed is important for some customers. Like, a lot of our customers, we call them sort of the resi nesters. They've just bought a house. One of the wife's pregnant. They need to get an extension to add a bedroom before this baby comes. That's when speed becomes like, we have a time limit here. Baby Teddy is coming any minute now. We need to get this built, and that's where it's not speed to cut corners. It's speed because it matters to the family.
Absolutely.
And then the cost piece, like I said before, we've made the decision not to be the cheapest. We're definitely not the most expensive. We're just competitive. So it's definitely leading into quality and speed.
But I know that as we're talking about this, people will be listening to this conversation and hearing speed means, like you've said, cutting corners, poor job.
It's
but
efficiency.
actually, that's not the truth, is it?
Yeah. It's efficiency. It's efficiency, and like we know now that we can use our scale to form partnerships to help the whole process. To form partnerships to get you a better builder who can have cheaper materials. To form partnerships where we can build technology to make the process much more easier for you. So whenever we started out, we were just this like little young buck, just like making our way in the area. But now, Velux haven't given us this discount because we are up and coming. They've given us a discount because we've done 8,000 projects, and this is the sort of step change in the company, how we're looking forward.
Good. And so, what does this look like now for you, moving forward, with this speed, this scalability, and how does that solve customers' problems as well as meet demands around sustainability, net zero?
Do you know what, on the way here, I was thinking, like, I would love to sit here and say, Resi have solved the housing crisis. We've solved the decarbonisation of the existing housing stock, but at the minute we haven't, and we have failed miserably, I'd say, compared to our potential. Like, we've done 8,000 projects. We have done about 0.1% in MMT. We've done about 20% in retrofit, and we really, like, as director of architecture, that's my responsibility. So I failed, but it's not for one to try. And so we are now offering free retrofit advice to all customers. We are upskilling all of our team in retrofitting. We've got a retrofit coordinator, Ben, in-house. We've got partnerships with SIPS companies. We are speaking to green finance houses. We are speaking to housing associations about upgrading their housing stock. And we have definitely failed on our potential to date, but I'm so confident that Resi are part of the solution. Our ability to deliver scale is what makes us unique. So I think to date we could have done more, and I wanted to be here like, yes, Resi we've done it all, but we haven't. But our investors back us because of the potential and the changes we are making. So I'm more optimistic for the future.
Good. Well, it doesn't sound like you failed. It sounds like you're growing.
I'm being harsh on myself.
Sounds like you're developing. You know.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I think I actually have this gripe with like ESG. Like ESG, I back it to the hilt. I back everything about it, but I think it's become this. It's been toxified by like these horrible people in America, and like it's now like this like negative word, where actually ESG should be like responsible, sustainable growth. It has to have growth in it, because we haven't been able to move as quickly as we wanted to, because we have to still grow as a company. And for me, like it's sustainability comes hand in hand with business growth. You have to they have to work together. At the minute, the planning is just killing us. The I know planning reforms are coming, but until they're coming, we can't move as quickly as we want to move.
What elements of planning are killing you?
Do you know what's interesting? That there's like hundreds of councils in England, and we've worked with most of them, literally most of them, and their interpretation of the green side, I use green loosely because it's a horrible term, but you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's all different. Every single one is different, whether it's PD or not, if they require a noise report or not, and we have to sort of react to each one. So we're trying to standardize this whole green approach with documents, and we give it to our council, and they're like, no, it's different. So Lewisham's different than Barnet, and Barnet's different than Westminster, and we're like, guys, we need consistency. Mm-hmm. There's no way we're going to get a heat pump in 40% of our extensions if you don't give us some consistency with your communication, with your requirements, with your documents. And that's, we know reforms are coming. We know they're coming pretty quickly, but at the minute, for a customer to have to pay £2,000 for a noise report for something they're going to save about £100 or £200 a year on, it's killing any progress there. So that's why, I mean, if the government are serious about planning reforms, like we've got some inside information that Angela Rayner's currently got a set of reforms on her desk. Pass them, implement them all, remove the restrictions on size and the distance to the boundary, and then we can actually get heat pumps into houses quicker. And then it works with our growth. Then it works with us being a responsible company. So that's my internal gripe with planning and ESG. Planning.
So with that then, so say these reforms do come through, what impact would that have on, say, me as an example? If I'm living next door to someone that's going to put a heat pump that's, I think, really, really close to my bedroom window.
Do you know what? We are the only country in Europe who are so restrictive. And I think the current complaints about noise heat pumps, it's like 1 or 2% of like complaints to the environmental agency. Like I think the nerves about sound is worse than the actual sound. So
what you're saying is the boogeyman under the bed.
100%. It's the sort of the negative preconceptions. But what I would say, it is about quality. If you get a badly installed heat pump, it's going to sound like a flipping turbo engine going past your house. So it has to be quality. So we work with some cracking companies, with Era, with HeatGeek, with Vito. Like these guys, their accreditation, like their testing, the post installation monitoring is like the highest of the high. If you install crap, you get crap out. So I think that the quality of installation is so important as well. But basically, if these reforms come through, there won't be a restriction of how close you can be to a boundary. The size restriction will also be increased, of like the size of the actual unit. And from what I've read and spoken to with these companies, it's not going to make much of a difference. What it will do is give confidence to our customers that they can get a heat pump under PD. They can put it wherever they want. They can install it with one of our trusted suppliers. And already you're creating an environment where it's more positive. It's more, the risks aren't as obvious or aren't as daunting. I think it's just creating like a better environment to make decisions, where at the minute it's like, you can't do it, it's too expensive, it might fail planning. Your planning extension for your house may fail because of a heat pump. For all them reasons, customers are like, I don't want it, even though it makes sense.
I know that you don't directly deal with the funders that you get for the company.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if you are able to offer up some advice. If I've got a really good idea that's going to revolutionize the construction industry, and I'm struggling to get off the ground because I've just not got the capital, what things would I need to do in order to get the attention of funders?
We always talk about sort of the MVP. Like, what is the most simplest thing that you can prove? The minimal viable product. So we do this all the time. Like because we're so ambitious, we can live in the stars. We're like, actually no. Like, what are you trying to prove? If you distill everything, get rid of all the investment that you need. You look is it you're trying to prove a problem? You're trying to prove a problem, speak to customers. Speak to 10 customers, 100 customers. Are they saying the same thing? Can you demonstrate something by having, yes, you need tech, yes, you need investment, but can you demonstrate something just by doing it? Like, sometimes my CEO, Alex, she says, ask for forgiveness, not permission. Just do it. Let you just get out there, test it. And I think it's like, if you can prove the smallest thing, which is going against the grain of some problem or some bigger thing, then that gets you there. Like we've built this software called Resi Ready. It's like a configurator where you basically have to design it. We basically build technology which helps you, the customer, design your extension. And it's kind of like imagine a sketching tool, but it's actually in 3D. And you can pick your roof tiles, you can pick your roof form, you can pick your rear extension. Is it pitch roof, flat roof? And it's amazing. Like, investors love it. But about 2 months before this software, we just looked on Google Maps, looked at all the extensions around the area. We could see very clearly that the loft extensions in Lambeth, they're all the same. I'm exaggerating from a point, but a lot of them are the same. You walk up these roads and they've got the exact same dormer extension. And we would bet our house that the inside of the house is also the same. So we were able to prove to my CEO that we could standardize extensions by just spending 2 hours on Google Maps. All of a sudden, she throws resource behind it, and away you go. So back to my first point, just prove the most simplest thing. Prove the problem, and then the rest can become easier.
Good. Where does the passion come from for you?
For me?
Yeah.
Do I come across very passionate?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I'm like, Mark, you're so passionate.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
So that's not a bad thing.
No, it's
the
great.
fact that you're,
Do you know what I like? I love this, and I think I have a passion for 2 things. First of all, like the bigger piece of the industry of all, I'm the worst person to be employed by. Or if you're my boss, you'd hate me.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I want more. I want to change this here. I've seen this problem. I want to fix it. I'm always trying to think about like what's happening like in 18 months or 2 years.
Was that a problem if I was your boss? So what would I not like?
It's a problem to like manage.
Okay.
But I'm sure Alex, if she's listening to this, which I know she will be, she'll be like, it's great. It's like, and I'll be like speaking to you here. And many architects won't do this. Like many architects do, and not to any fault of their own. Like we're architects we can be quite sort of, we're purists, we're creative. We like the sort of the trade. Whereas I knew with Resi that we could do something differently. So I like to try and I can get impatient by just doing the same thing. But then secondly, I have this like burning passion for Resi. I do believe in the mission. I believe that them 40 people in my team are fantastic. Each one of them, like Antoine and Ollie at the top, Ben, Reem and Benny beneath them, and beneath them 25 more people. Like they are fantastic at what they do. I think to try and find architects and technologists and designers who are willing to sort of go with you in this journey and to try and do things a bit differently, it's not easy. And there's like I would say we are by no means perfect, but we try and get a good work-life balance for these guys. We try and work 9 to 6. We try and educate them in new technologies. So it's like, I guess when you combine, you back the team, you back the company, and also you want to do more, it becomes this.
So where did this passion come before that though? Because you must have had passion there in something for Resi, because it seems like to me that Resi has shown up and there's been a match made in heaven because they are giving you an outlet for the thing that's inside you. Yeah. But where did this passion inside you come from?
It's a great question. I think I actually think it's been there. If I go back even further, I'd say it's came from being told that you can't do it. Like sitting here, people would be surprised that I'm sitting here.
Okay.
Because I've got a stammer, I mumble, I've got this thick Irish accent, and they're like, "Wait a minute, you're now doing a podcast with Darren Evans? Like that's mental." And I think people telling you can't do something makes you like, no. Like 2 fingers up to you. I'm going to do this, and that's made me always want to like disprove preconceptions of like my sort of scope of my ability. And I'd say like if any, like, I know on this podcast you got students and CEOs and architects and designers and design managers, like the students who really want to, like, if I could sit here and speak to you, there's no limit to their ambition, and there shouldn't be any limit to their ambition because you just have to put yourself out there. I actually last week at Resi I done a public speaking course for the team, and I was like, guys, like I assure you, if I'm doing this, you can do it too. And you have these people who are like nodding to you, and they're like, yes, I feel like I can. I'm like, this is the greatest meeting I've ever had. So I think, I think it's disproving other people's preconceptions, and all of a sudden you're sitting here, and you put yourself in the deep end. You put yourself in difficult positions, and all of a sudden you're director of architecture at Resi, managing 35 fantastic designers and architects, and the sort of the trajectory of the company is only going up.
Well, I reckon we're now about ready to go to the demolition zone.
Sounds great.
You ready?
Yep.
Let's do it. We are now in the demolition zone.
Yes.
And you've created these two towers. The red tower is slightly larger than the green tower.
Yeah.
But you've been very selective with the colour of bricks.
I have indeed. And I hope I'm not judged by my sort of construction abilities here.
Everybody judges you.
Yes.
But it doesn't make any
my
difference.
team at home, please, just please bear with me. See, this is I really have this impact the planning has on our ability to deliver true decarbonisation. It really is hampering us. Again, I know there's reforms coming, but for me, they can't come quick enough. If they don't come, it's just the uptake in heat pumps and batteries and solars and external wall insulation and building and SIPs construction. It's not going to happen quick enough. So you've got our green is trying to come through, but the sort of the red planning restrictions, the red tape and planning it's impacting it.
That is good. How specifically does it impact? And I know that we've covered some bits in the conversation around heat pumps.
Yeah.
But can you talk through the specific issues that it brings?
Yeah. Okay. So we tried to put external wall insulation around the building and add an extension. Because the external wall insulation was rejected, the extension then was rejected. So customers they fear the restrictions on the green stuff, the green crap as they call it, is going to impact the extension which they need for their growing family, to watch their children do their homework whenever they're in the kitchen, to add that indispensable bedroom. If these family key areas are in any way at risk, the green crap doesn't happen. And we want the green crap. We care about the green crap, but it's the sort of the negative. If there's a little bit of risk in your belly, you won't do it. So I think it's the environment which it's promoting, like this negative environment, but also like the planners are so. I feel so bad for them. They are the busiest people. They're working horrible hours. They're not paid enough. They're sort of the local authorities planners. They're overstretched, and to make them have to check this stuff whenever it should just be self-certified and go straight through, you're just killing the whole system. So make it self-certified, make it PD, make it fly through, everyone will be happier. And it will make the customers not fear that their extension for their new child coming is going to be rejected by putting in a heat pump or solar panel or wall insulation.
Good. Well, why don't you go ahead and destroy the myth?
Happily.
Right jab.
That felt good. That felt really good.
Came down.
Yeah.
That's good. I love that. As I'm sat here listening to you talk about the restrictions with planning, it seems as though to me that the real issue that you're talking about here is the uncertainty that exists when you, as an architect or someone that's trying to help a customer plan and execute on an extension, find it really, really difficult to give certainty to your client. And your client finds it really, really difficult to feel that certainty either from you or from anyone else because it feels like you're throwing stuff to the wind, and whichever way it's blowing, it could land in that way. So it seems like it's a certainty issue.
100%. And I think it's more obvious to us because we've got like a 98% approval rate. We can give you confidence of an approval for an extension, for a loft extension, for a 2-story rear. Obviously, there's always risk in planning, but we can give you confidence. But then, if we then sort of prefix that with the heat pump, you may not need a sound report. It should be fine. We think you should include this. It shouldn't be invalid, but it becomes invalid. That sort of uncertainty, it just it hampers the progress there. But if we were able to say your rear extension will be approved for the heat pump, it is PD. We can go up to the boundary. It needs to be this size. You don't need a sound report or sound engineer. Then it becomes this like really tight recommendation, and that's what we're after.
Yeah, I like that. So the analogy that I've got in my mind at the moment is everyone loves a roller coaster. Well, maybe not everyone, but people love a roller coaster because you have the balance of certainty versus excitement and fear. So you can be afraid but be safe at the same time because you know that someone's tested it. There's been a system and a process that's gone through that means that you're not going to lose your life or become seriously injured. And so I think that same process is, if that was overlaid in the construction industry, where we're going to have ups and downs, but there is actually this certainty here because there is this agreed on, well-formulated process that is applicable in every single borough, not just within London, but also within the UK. It would just make the ride more enjoyable.
And that is literally that is our whole ethos about like making this renovation journey stress free, so you can enjoy the ride. Like it's why we come to work. It's to like take the sort of the stress and the fear out of extending your home, because make no bones about it, if you want to open up the back of your house and make a massive hole in your house, and you've got a young child coming, it's going to be nerve wracking. But if we can sort of take out the stress and make it more enjoyable, I think it's a job well done.
So have you thought about coming up with software for the local authority so it makes their life easier?
So we actually have worked, because Resi are the second biggest user of the planning portal. I think the first is a doors company or windows company. But we speak to them. We speak to them on a regular occurrence. We talk to them about software. They've been in our company, so we haven't built anything yet. What I would say is like councils know our drawings now. Councils know what they receive.
So you've got a reputation now.
Yeah, exactly.
When they see the Resi mark,
it's the same setup, the same drawings. We know all of the requirements. Each council is different, which makes it difficult. But so I think it's definitely something which we have sort of flirted with. We have a good dialogue with councils. We have a good dialogue with planning portal. We actually have a good dialogue with Labour as well. Our CEO Alex, she opened for Rachel Reeves at the Labour conference a few weeks ago. So we try and be proactive in these circles to try and improve the industry. I think sometimes it's hard. We've ambitions to try and be leaders in the sort of the upgrade of housing associations, their portfolio of housing. It's something we're actively speaking to companies about. So yeah, we do have ambitions to deal with these bigger enterprises, but it's sometimes it can be like we're a speedboat and they're a tanker. We're like nipping around them and they're like they've got the foghorn going pretty slowly. So, but we're pretty sure we can change course.
Mark, it's been great speaking to you today.
And to you.
And I'm wondering, is there anything that you wanted to cover or talk about, but that you feel that you've not had the opportunity to?
I think we covered a lot. It's been great. I do back Resi being part of the solution. I think our ability to match scale with technology, our ability to engage with local government, with housing associations, like it's unique. We will be the answer to part of this decarbonisation of the existing stock. We know that the existing stock, people are unhappy in their homes because of the condition of them. They're leaking. They can't afford to move. Once we can sort of hit true scale, I'm super excited, and I think you'll see a lot more of Resi in the coming months and years.
Am I right in thinking that you've got either a pending deal or a deal with Rightmove?
Yeah, we've got it. We currently have. If you go on Rightmove's website, you will see Resi. It's a valuation calculator, so we help customers on Rightmove understand what they could do with their property. This is one of our potential big partnerships. They are excited by us. We're excited by them. It's about that sort of organic traffic coming to Resi. It's fantastic. It's another sort of sign of like these big corporations buying into Resi and what we're doing. Another exciting partnership.
Good. Just thinking of a final thought.
Yep.
Final thought for those that are listening. If they could just do one thing and take one thing out of this conversation, what would it be?
I would say if you're a homeowner and you can't afford to move, your house is leaking, you're putting your kids to bed with a hot water bottle, you're cooking the dinner and you feel this sort of draft in the back of your neck, you've always felt like you're sort of constrained by the house, speak to us. Like our team, our sort of first team you'll speak to are unbelievable at letting you know the potential of your house, letting you know what you do with retrofitting, letting you know what you do with new energy sources with solar panels and batteries. So like Resi's website, resi.co.uk, is full of useful information with blogs and technology and our numbers. So get in touch. You don't have to move. You can improve the house you're in. It can be an extension, or it can be solar panels, or it can be a heat pump, or it can be glazing. I think Resi will make it more accessible, hopefully a bit more exciting, and that first step to finding out becomes a little bit easier.
Thank you very much.
Good man. Good to speak.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thanks a lot.